Hey everybody, Mom H with Honey Hollow Homestead. Okay, this is the third time I've tried to make this video. Hopefully we can get it done. Anyway, I wanted to give you an update, but also I wanted to say that I'm ever so grateful for my young farmhand, David. He has been a godsend. Uh, Normally I have him just one day a week on Mondays, but since we had to make it a short day on Monday because I had to go into the hospital, I asked him if he could come out again yesterday, Wednesday, and he did, and so we got a little bit more work done, but we ended up having to cut it a little short again because he's got a good eye and he understands farm life. Okay, he noticed, and it's something I should have noticed and I didn't, but he noticed that Gertrude had diarrhea. I said, okay, good eye, David, fantastic. I said, okay, we got to get hold of her, and since I gotta have to go in town anyway, we'll get a stool sample, and I'll drop it off, and the vet can do to test it to see what's wrong with her, what's causing the diarrhea. First thing I thought of was coccidia, even though I seem to have more incidences of that in the younger ones, and she's a year old. So I wasn't 100%. And another thing that could cause it is worms. She was the only one that was having the diarrhea. So not knowing for sure, or even if she did have worms, what kind, okay, we'll take the stool sample in, the vet can test it, and we can go from there. Okay? So I did, took it in, and he tested it. It was not coccidia, and there was no worms. She was good. He said he saw 2 little eggs, and it's like, that's nothing unusual. It's not a danger. It wouldn't cause the diarrhea. So I said, well, what would cause the diarrhea then? And he said, well, it could have been the heat. And it's like, of course, it was kind of in the back of my mind, but I didn't really think an animal would have that kind of problem. I have that problem if I get too hot. Okay, I just, no, I can't do the heat because I have that problem. But I didn't think an animal would have. I've never heard of an animal having that problem. But it was in the back of my mind, but I brushed it off. So, but yeah, it could be. So anyway, there you go. He did give me some worm medicine to have on hand for just in case, because I was keeping an eye on her. And if there was any improvement, I was going to try it. But it looks like she seemed dry today. Didn't actually see her poop, but there was no other signs of fresh diarrhea. So, and it was a little bit cooler today. Well, a little less humid anyway. And it's supposed to be cooler tomorrow and through the weekend. So hopefully, she'll settle and we won't have to give her the wormer. So that was a good thing, and I'm very grateful to David. Even though it ended up not being anything major, it could have been. It could have been a very serious issue. Okay, now for my husband. Okay, yesterday he was fantastic. Okay, he was doing good. He was eating. He was getting his appetite back. Everything was going good. His vitals were good. They had detected a small clot in his lung, and they were going to be putting him on heparin, which is, typical. That's what they do for blood clot. And I also learned that it's not unusual with hip surgery for a blood clot to develop. Okay, so my cousin is a nurse, and she's been a nurse for many years. So I'll take her word for it. That's what she told me. Okay, so and they also told me that they were going to be, because of the issues with his veins and all the sticking and everything, they were going to put central line, is that what they call where they put it in your neck? Okay. Um, so that it would be less of a problem for him. So that was good. Everything was good. His vitals were good. Everything. Okay. I get in there today, and he has oxygen on, which is a first, and they also have a bag of blood hooked up. The nurse met me right away, and she started explaining what was going on. Apparently, his O2 came down, was lower overnight. I think she said it was in the 80s. Okay, not like critical, but it is low. So they put him on oxygen immediately. They figure it's because of blood clot. Also, early this morning, he had a bowel movement, and they detected blood in his stool. So, okay, that was indicating a bleed somewheres. Also, his dressing was more weepy. So, obviously, there was an issue with the heparin. Okay, so they didn't know what was causing the blood in the stool. He had breakfast, so it must have happened after breakfast. But after that, they took food away from him, in case he was going to have to go have surgery. Okay, because they didn't know that it was just a precaution. But I think that the second stool sample they took, I don't think was. They were sending it for testing. I didn't get the report back by the time I left. So I'm not sure. But the nurse said she didn't notice any blood. So she didn't think it was going to be as bad. So maybe it wasn't. But they had, at that point, they had stopped the heparin. Okay. But his hemoglobin was low, which is why they were giving him the blood. Okay, and of course my husband was saying, well, you just took so much blood out of me, and the doctor was saying, no, we don't take that much. So I don't know if there's anything going on internally. They checked him over for any, signs of bruising or anything, asked about the fall. If he had hurt anything, he didn't recall hurting anything. He was not in pain. So last time I talked to him, like I said, they stopped the heparin, gave him blood, and put him on the O2. His oxygen level when I left was 95, which is good. It was right around 98 to 100 yesterday. But that was without oxygen. So now he's on oxygen, and it was upwards of 95. So they are keeping very close tabs on him. He's still in the ICU. And he has not been up out of bed yet because of all these other issues going on with him. Definitely appreciate your prayers. His spirits are good. He was wanting his lunch, but I don't know if he ever got lunch because there was some confusion there, but I'm pretty sure he got his dinner. And he was really looking forward to that because it's something he really likes. So I'm not overly concerned, a little bit, because the bleeding thing, they're not sure what's going on with that. I do believe he is on another blood thinner as well. I don't think they stopped that one when they put the heparin on. So maybe between the two, it was just too much for him. They did wean him off of one medication. But he's still on an some kind of antibiotic, because they don't know why his white blood cell count is so high. So they're monitoring him. They're keeping tabs on him. The doctor was there, and he was checking him over. I can honestly say that he is getting excellent, excellent care in this hospital. Okay, I have had nothing but good to say about them. They've been, communication has been good. They let me know. I mean, I'm not a nurse. I'm not in the medical field. So some of the things they tell me, I don't fully understand. But I do have a cousin that's a nurse, and I can text her, and sometimes she can explain things to me. Like she can say that, okay, that is a concern, or no, that's not a big deal. That's normal. Like the bleeding, the blood clot from the hip surgery. She said that's very common. It happens. But the hospital was right on top of it. They before there was any indication that there was a blood clot, they had him down for a test to check to see if there was a blood clot forming. So they were right on top of it. Okay, so just please continue to keep him in your prayers. I appreciate every one of you that do. I'm hanging in there. There are times it's rough, but I'm hanging in there. I'm grateful that the animals are, for the most part, very cooperative. They're trained to come in for feeding at night, and if there's a couple of drops of rain, the goats are in the barn. So, for the most part, it's going okay. I'm just doing the best I can, So, but anyway, this video's long enough. I'm going to get myself a drink, relax a little bit before I go to bed. So I will talk to y'all later. Thank you very much, everybody. Mom H with Honey Huddle Homestead. Talk to you later.